Okay, so hello. This video is about making Xiragen, producing Xiragen. Which is more efficient, using solid to gas transmuting units or using fluid to gas transmuting units? That was a question I had over about a week, and some knowledge from people who know, which is know and new apparently, a bit more than me. I have finally been able to collate all this information and hopefully be able to present it to you in a digestible format. Off rip, this is going to be a long video, so this intro is about all the yapping I'm going to do, okay? I'm not going to have no yapping at the end. So let's get started. I'll be referring to my handy dandy remarkable pages here that I have, so that for those of you who like to read along, you can try and decipher my awful handwriting along with me. In addition, let me grab them because there will also be some EnKADs I have made to help explain, show different examples of what's going on. Okay, so that'd be the primary thing, and we'll just have the game on in the back to give us some nice ambiance sounds. Okay, so let's start off. Why does this even matter? Why does it matter to figure out the efficiency between a fluid to gas transmuting unit and a solid to gas transmuting unit? Mostly it's for min-max. If you're trying to min-max your production, if you're not, then it's not really necessary. I don't actually follow this 100% myself in game. I did not know, and after knowing, it's still not worth it to me to actually change over production. However, it is good to know because it's good information to know what your options are, especially if we get more sources of naturals, more ways to make Xiragen, whether that's through somehow more Forges of the Sky, or if that is through more natural Xiragen vents. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going to work with. The main thing this does do is this knowledge will do is save you on Xiranite by using the more efficient method, right? Okay, so before we start, for those of you who may not know, let's talk about what transmuters are and how they work. Okay, so the main thing is that they turn an item from one state of matter to another. There are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas, right? A solid would be ice. We'll use water as an example. A solid form is ice, the liquid form is water, and then the gaseous form would be like mist or clouds, right? I guess clouds aren't exactly, but you know what I mean, like a mist. Water vapor, I think, is what we can call it. So let's take a look at these real quick, because the name of the facility tells you what it can transmute. Okay, so the solid to gas transmuting unit can transmute gas into solid in a process called solidifying. What is it called over here, actually? Yes, it can solidify gas into solids, and then it can also gasify solids into gas, right? So Xiranite is considered a solid. You can make it into Xiragen, which is the gaseous form, and vice versa. Fluid to gas transmuting units, however, can liquefy a gas into a liquid, which would be something like Xiragen being made back into precipitation acid, or it can gasify a liquid, so it can turn liquid Xiranite into Xiragen. Okay, so it can liquefy and gasify. Solid to gas can solidify and gasify. Just for posterity's sake, you can liquid Xiranite is made. Xiraite is made into liquid Xiranite in a reactor crucible. I do not believe there is a way to make liquid Xiranite back into Xiranite. If there is, I just don't know off the top of my head right now. It's not really that important, is it? But this is not considered transmutation, and we're not going to be talking about this for this video. Okay, so in addition to power, like most other facilities, it has a 50 power use. It must be within a pylon's range. Transmuting units also have this little green activation port on them, okay? They have a green activation port. So they require power and an activation ingredient. That's the term I'll be using. I might use the term fuel as well. Fuel / activation ingredient. So whereas this reactor crucible just needs power and then whatever formula, ingredients for its formula to begin working, a transmutation unit, however, it needs to be supplied with this activation ingredient. For solid to gas, it is activated by Xiragen. That's this ribbon up here. Whereas for fluid to gas, it is activated by liquid Xiranite. That is this ribbon up here. Now, unlike power, which is constantly being supplied, how the activation ingredient will power it will activate the transmuting unit for 10 seconds. Okay, so when you supply this solid to gas transmute unit with 1 Xiragen, it will activate for 10 seconds, allowing its production formulas to operate. Okay, so when this says minimum flow rate required, that's what it's talking about. It needs 1 unit of Xiragen every 10 seconds to work at maximum efficiency, to always be working, basically. So during that 10 seconds, it can run its production formulas. Since most production formulas occur over 2 seconds, it can make 5 of these. An exception to this is heavy Xiranite. Heavy Xiranite takes 10 seconds to produce, but we're not going to use that for our examples today. It's not relevant because we're talking about making Xiragen, the efficiency of making more Xiragen. If you supply more activation ingredients in that 10-second window, it will only reset the window to 10 seconds. It will not produce anything faster, nor will it add to 10 seconds. So if you give this 1 unit and it activates for 10 seconds, and then 5 seconds into that you give it another unit of Xiragen, it will not go to 15 seconds. It does not extend out to 15 seconds. It resets back to 10 seconds and then begins ticking down. So, to recap really fast, when it comes to these activation ports, with the solid being activated by Xiragen and the fluid unit being activated by liquid Xiranite, it requires 1 every 10 seconds to activate at to operate at maximum efficiency. So to run it in 1 minute, you need to give it 6 every minute, every 10 seconds, 6 in a minute. Part 1, producing Xiragen from scratch. So what I mean by that is we are not using natural Xiragen to help with the production in any way. Okay, we're not using natural Xiragen. By natural Xiragen, what I mean is up here in North Ruling Exclusion Zone, the Xiragen vent from the southwest, nor the 2 Xiragen vents from the northeast. I mean the north and the northeast. Okay, we're not using those gas vents. So, making it from scratch, what is more efficient? Well, there are 2 methods. How do we make Xiragen from scratch then? There are 2 methods. You can do, one of the methods is to create it through liquid to gas transmutation. The other is through solid to gas transmutation. So we're going to start with liquid to gas transmutation. That kind of forms the backbone of what we're going to work with. To create Xiragen using the liquid to gas transmutation, you have to first get liquid Xiranite. To get liquid Xiranite, you combine 1 clean water with 1 Xiranite in a reactor crucible, and that will give you 1 liquid Xiranite every 2 seconds, right? So that's what we have happening here. This is a very simple formula. We've been doing this for a while now. I think most people are kind of familiar with this no matter what their level, well, for most levels of people with experience in AIC factory. All right. Solid to gas transmutation, however, so after you have your 1 liquid Xiranite, that the transmuter itself requires 1 liquid Xiranite, and that activates it for 10 seconds. Every 2 seconds, the transmuter will transmute 1 liquid Xiranite into 1 Xiragen. Okay, so to make 1 Xiragen, you need 1 liquid Xiranite every 2 seconds. So that's how you make it in the liquid to gas transmutation. For solid to gas transmutation, however, it is just Xiranite to Xiragen, activated by the Xiragen in the port. Okay, so 1 Xiragen activates the transmuter for 10 seconds. Every 2 seconds, the transmuter will transmute 1 Xiranite into 1 Xiragen. Okay. Now, let's calculate the value of Xiragen. And when I say the value, we're talking relative to the value of Xiranite, okay? Because Xiranite is our limiting factor here and what we need to make more Xiragen, okay? We have basically infinite clean water. I mean, there's a limit, right? But in this case, it's infinite clean water, so this is not a limiting factor. The limiting factor here is Xiranite itself. We only have 360 Xiranite to use, okay? So that's why it's going to be our limiting factor and how we calculate the efficiency of the methods to use between fluid to gas transmutation style or solid to gas transmutation style. Okay, so when a fluid to gas transmuter is activated by 1 liquid Xiranite, it stays active for 10 seconds. In that 10 seconds, it can transmute 1 liquid Xiranite to 1 Xiragen every 2 seconds. This results in 5 Xiragen being produced per activation, okay? Thus, 6 liquid Xiranite total is needed to produce 5 Xiragen. You need 1 to power to activate the transmutation unit. You need 5 to actually be converted. That is 6 liquid Xiranite to produce 5 Xiragen, because the production formula will run 5 times in 10 seconds, okay? And since 1 Xiranite makes 1 liquid Xiranite in a 1-to-1 ratio, we can substitute them for each other here. So I will often say 1 Xiranite here, and maybe not 1 liquid Xiranite. Just know that in this case, they are interchangeable because they are a 1-to-1 ratio in production. However, so Xiranite thus has a 1.2 to 1 ratio to Xiragen, making Xiragen 20% more valuable than Xiranite. Now, when I say a 1.2 to 1 ratio, it's because 6 divided by 5 is 1.2. 6 liquid Xiranites to produce 5 Xiragen. That means you need 1.2 Xiranites to make 1 Xiragen. Okay, that's how that works. If you want to make 100 Xiragen, you will need 120 Xiranite. So I will say later on that Xiragen is 120% the value of Xiranite. That is where this comes from, because you need 100. Oh shoot, sorry. Because you need 100. Oh, where was I? Oh, it's because you need 120 Xiranite to make 100 Xiragen. So Xiragen is 120%. 120% the value of Xiranite. Okay. So, using the next question we want to try and help figure this out is using a fluid to gas transmuter, how much Xiranite is needed to make 30 Xiragen? Okay, that's the method I use to figure this efficiency out. And thanks to Arflinier providing me with their method, the numbers did match up. That's very good. I was very glad to get that. Okay, so using a fluid to gas transmuter, how much Xiranite is needed to make 30 Xiragen? So let's go through the steps here. 1 liquid Xiranite activates the transmuter for 10 seconds. Every 2 seconds, the transmuter will transmute 1 liquid Xiranite into 1 Xiragen. Thus, to run the transmuter for 60 seconds, we need, first, 6 liquid Xiranite to activate the transmuter over 60 seconds. That's 1 liquid Xiranite per 10 seconds. The second thing we need is 30 liquid Xiranite to be transmuted to 30 Xiragen over 60 seconds. All right, that is 1 every 2 seconds. Thus, we need 30 liquid Xiranite to be transmuted into 30 Xiragen. Okay, and that has to come over 60 seconds. Not gonna get into that. It takes 36 Xiranite. So combining these two numbers of 6 liquid Xiranite to activate 30 liquid Xiranite to be transmuted. It then takes 36 Xiranite converted in a crucible to 36 liquid Xiranite, because remember, Xiranite to liquid Xiranite is a 1-to-1 ratio, to make 30 Xiragen. Shorten that down. It takes 36 liquid Xiranite to make 30 Xiragen. Okay? So that answers our question of, using a fluid to gas transmuter, how much Xiranite does it take to make 30 Xiragen? It takes 36 liquid Xiranite, or 36 Xiranite. Now, using the solid to gas transmuter, how much Xiranite does it take to make 30 Xiragen? So this is our second method. Alright, let's run through the steps. 1 Xiragen activates the transmuter for 10... Oh, wait, hold on, I'm sorry. Did I need to make sure this... Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so before we move on... how do I want to do this? Yes, let me show this first. I'm sorry. Before we get to the solid to gas transmuter, let's take a quick look at the fluid to gas in action. Okay, so this right here is fluid to gas example, showing 36 Xiranite makes 30 Xiragen. Some little quirks here. This is set to 37. Oh, I'm sorry, let me back up. I have the Xiranite set to 36. It's 37 because one will get stuck in the item control port. It's kind of weird. I don't know. We have this port limited to 6, only allowing 6 through. This will be... Sorry. We have this output port at the reactor crucible, only allowing 6 liquid Xiranite out at a rate of 6 a minute. There are 2 ports because this first one does not actually limit it to 6 a minute for some reason for the first 2, but the second one will catch it, okay? And this is going to the activator port. Also, the reason why there's these funky pipes is because this thing starts with activator fluid in it already, and we need to simulate this not having the activator fluid. So let's let this run for a second. I'm gonna speed it up, but where's my arrow keys? There we go. So we're gonna speed it up so you can see what happens here. This gas tank is showing how much we should have. So we should have 30 by the end of it, and we are going to have 36, I'm sorry, Xiranite. So there's 1 left inside this little box. All right, that's why I made it 37. Okay, so let's speed this up a bit. Now you will start seeing, it's okay for the liquid Xiranite to get here first. This is a test environment, not a real environment, so it's okay. All right, so we starting to get our liquid Xiranite. Where is the... Now our activator fluid is coming in, right? You can see it down here. Let me zoom in a bit. There's the activator fluid. So now we'll run. And we're going to start getting our Xiranite, or Xiragen, into the thing. You can see this little bar right here is the activation of the unit. And when it hits the red, that's when it goes out. So we're going to speed this up a bit more. And that is all of our gas. Right? And we have 30. Okay? 30 pass through here, 6 pass through here, 6 pass through here. So you use 36 Xiranite, you will get 30 Xiragen. Okay? So that's our first example shown in EnKAD. Okay? Next, using solid to gas transmuter, how much Xiranite is needed to make 30 Xiragen? 1 Xiragen, let me do this. 1 Xiragen activates the transmuter for 10 seconds. Every 2 seconds, the transmuter will transmute 1 Xiranite into 1 Xiragen. Thus, to run the transmuter for 60 seconds, we need first 6 Xiragen to activate the transmuter for 60 seconds, and then 30 Xiranite to be transmuted to 30 Xiragen over 60 seconds. Same as above, right? The 30 Xiranite works every 2 seconds, it makes 1, and thus we have to have 30. But for this, we must first make the 6 Xiragen to activate the transmuter, and we do that by using the only other available method to create Xiragen, a fluid to gas transmuter. So I'm going to show this real fast. We're not going to use the example yet. That is what's happening here. This is the solid to gas example we're going to use. So we have our crucible set up over here to make our 6 liquid Xiragen. Now, we need 6 Xiragen, but 6 liquid Xiranite only makes 5 Xiragen, right? 1 liquid Xiranite activates the transmuter for 10 seconds. 5 liquid Xiranite will be transmuted to 5 Xiragen every 2 seconds over 10 seconds, right? So that will be our 6 Xiranite slash liquid Xiranite. But we want to make 6 Xiragen. Thus, we need 1 more Xiranite to activate the transmuter long enough to produce 1 more Xiragen. However, that 1 Xiranite will activate it for 10 seconds. There's nothing we can do about that. But during that 10 seconds, we can make the 1 extra liquid Xiranite that will... we can transmute the 1 extra liquid Xiranite that into 1 Xiragen, okay? So, in this scenario, it takes 8 Xiranite to make 6 Xiragen, okay? But, so let's keep that in mind. We'll come back to this 8 number. Now that we have our 6 Xiragen to activate the transmuter, let's make our 30 Xiragen. 6 Xiragen activates the transmuter for 60 seconds, 1 every 10 seconds. 30 Xiranite transmuted to 30 Xiragen over 60 seconds, 1 every 2 seconds. Thus, it takes 38 Xiranite, thus it takes 38 Xiranite, 8 of which are used to make 6 Xiragen for activation to make 30 Xiragen using a solid to gas transmuting unit method. This creates a 1.27 to 1 ratio of Xiranite to Xiragen, making Xiragen worth 120% of 1 Xiranite. Okay, now this is actually like 1.26666 repeating, but I just rounded it to 1.27, and we will compare that to the 1. Oh, I didn't do that yet. Sorry, I'm going to back that. We're not going to do that yet. Yeah, because I didn't talk about that yet, did I? Okay, or did I? Okay, I didn't. We'll come back to that. Okay, so let's take a look at this in action. This side is the solid to gas example, 38 Xiranite to make 30 Xiragen. Again, 1 Xiranite will get stuck in this item control port, so we have 8 Xiranite on this side. Okay. We have the activator port for the fluid to gas set to 2 a minute, and it will only let 2 out. The top port, let me back up. The reactor crucible's output of liquid Xiragen, the output going to the fluid to gas transmuting unit's activator port is limited to 2 a minute, and it is only allowing 2 of them out, okay? The top port, which will supply the 6 liquid Xiranite to be transmuted, is only going to allow 6 out at whatever rate it wants. At the gas transmuting unit, we will find an item control port with our other 30. This one actually works correctly for some reason. It only lets 30 out. So, and it is not going to resupply itself with Xiragen. That's why this is moved away. Okay. It will take the 6, it will get its 30, and it will make its Xiragen. Yes. So let's watch this in action. So I'm going to speed this up as well. Oh, whoops! I gotta restart it. There we go. So you'll see there's our first activation fluid for the fluid to gas, and then our second. And these are our 6 liquid Xiranites that will be transmuted. Over here, you can see this is ticking down now, and our Xiranite is making its way. Okay, so now we're seeing our liquid Xiranite to be transmuted has made it to the fluid to gas transmuting unit. And the first activation fluid is now here. There we go. This now works. It makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And then that 1 sits there. It can only make 5 per activation. Now, you can also see that this has begun working to make some of the liquid Xiranite. Over here, our final Xiragen from the fluid to gas is created, and we are on our way. This is also limited to only 6, and it will only work. It's set to limit it at 6 a minute, so 1 every 10 seconds. I'm gonna speed this up as well, and you can see that by the end of it, we have our 30 Xiragen in the gas tank. Okay, I will have this EnKAD in the description for you to use to see for yourself how this works. All right. Okay, so that is our creating, using that answers the question, using solid to gas transmuter, how much Xiranite does it take to make 30 Xiragen? It takes 38. This creates a 1.27 to 1 ratio of Xiranite to Xiragen, making Xiragen worth 120% of 1 Xiranite. But this is less efficient. You need more Xiranite to make Xiragen, so this is not a good number. Okay, quick note. It is important to note that after a solid transmuter is started in this way, it can then supply its own activator fuel. In this way, every 30 Xiranite must use 6 Xiragen to supply the activator, resulting in 30 Xiranite to make 24 Xiragen in a minute by supplying itself. A 1.25 to 1 ratio of Xiranite to Xiragen. This is still less efficient than fluid to gas transmutation. I'll show you that really quick over here. That's what this example is. There's 30 Xiranite, and this will allow, oh, this will kickstart it, okay? And we'll only have 30 Xiranite in here. Yes. Okay, I think. Yes. So one thing to note, we don't do this one in terms of how much Xiranite does it take to produce 30 Xiragen. We have to go a different route here to get our number, because in a minute you cannot, if you're having the transmuter supply itself, you must pull from the transmuter itself. You are not pulling from an external liquid Xiranite. All right, so that's like, this is external, I'm sorry, Xiragen. This is external Xiragen coming into the fluid to gas transmuting unit. In a minute it can make 30, okay? But since this has to supply its own, in a minute it cannot make 30. I mean, it makes 30, but it doesn't yield 30. I'm sorry, that's the way to put it. It doesn't yield 30. It yields 24 because 6 must be used to supply it. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so it will only let 2 through, and that's just to get it kick-started. We're letting this burn out. There's 30 Xiranite coming out, right? And it's no longer activated. Xiranite is pouring in, and our first activator comes in. All right. Now pause a second. Remember, in the last example, we said we needed 2 Xiragen to make 6 Xiragen, or 2 liquid Xiranites to make 6 Xiragen. That's to run that second cycle. Same concept applies here. To make that 6th Xiragen, we need a second Xiragen activator, because it can only run for 5 cycles. Okay, let me not harp on that too much though. Okay, so now it's working, it's supplying itself as well as putting stuff in the gas tank. So let's see how much out of that 30 it actually sends. Okay, so it says 23. Now the reason why it says 23 is because EnKAD is being a little weird right now. This is that final gas, and it should have went out through this side, but instead, like, pipe control ports are capturing this final one. So this should be in this gas tank to make 24. So just note that it's not showing correctly, but it is working correctly. Okay. Now this is more efficient than the fluid, the solid to gas, when it comes to resource conservation. But you know. Okay, now let's continue. I don't know what that meant. You know. Okay, so now we have the following numbers. The fluid to gas method uses 36 Xiranite to make 30 Xiragen. That is a 1.2 to 1 ratio. 1.2 Xiranite to 30, I'm sorry, 1.2 Xiranite to 1 Xiragen, okay? You need 1.2 Xiranites to make 1 Xiragen. Solid to gas method uses 38 Xiranite to make 30 Xiragen. That is a 1.27 Xiranite to 1 Xiragen, okay? from a limited resource perspective, from the limited resource perspective of Xiranite, it is more efficient to use fluid to gas transmutation in resource costs, space, and power. Now I say all three of those because this is what we needed to make fluid to gas, okay? To gasify liquid Xiranite. However, to do the solidification method, you have to add on an entire extra transmutation unit, okay? And you have to make space for that, and belt, and a depot loader, okay? So it's extra. It just takes extra. And these things are like, what, 50 power? So that's 50 more power you're going to be using, as well as more space. Okay, so part 2, Natural Xiragen. So what about using Natural Xiragen to make more Xiragen? Now again, when I say Natural Xiragen, I'm talking about the Xiragen that we can get from up here in North Wuling Exclusion Zone. There's 100 of it, okay? I like hearing fluid. I like hearing this unit. I'm gonna stand over here. Blink, blink, blink. Okay. But we can apply our numbers from above. To begin with, the fluid to gas... Oh, yeah, so I want to go get this out of the way fast, first. To begin with, fluid to gas transmuting using Natural Xiragen is extremely inefficient, okay? You have to first liquefy the gas, then gasify it again. It is extremely impractical, and we do not need to test this, okay? I'll just show you what I mean. I'm not going to run this thing, but this is what it looks like. Oh, it's already running, but this is what it kind of looks like. To take your Natural Xiragen, liquefy it, and then gasify it again. Okay, this was never up for debate. It's a even my example is scuffed. I wasn't even sure how to properly example this, but this should never be done, and this was never up for debate in the efficiencies. So I'm not going to worry about this too much. Okay, so using Natural Xiragen as an activation ingredient for solid transmuters, it is actually still inefficient. Because remember, here in the solid gas transmitting unit, it's activated by Xiragen, right? Knowing that 1 Xiragen is worth 120% of Xiranite, you will be using 6 Xiragen to make 5 Xiragen, okay? So you'll use 6 of your Natural Xiragen to only get 5 Xiragen out. Every 6, not every 60 seconds, but in a 10-second window. Now, let's do some other math here. I have 120%, but 1.2, but 120% of the 6 Xiranite is equal to 120% of the 6 Xiragen, Natural Xiragen, is equal to 7.2 Xiranite. That is from the fluid to gas production, right? It takes 6 liquid Xiranite to make 1 Xiragen. So that's 120%. So, or 7.2 Xiranite. You compare this to the fluid to gas production that uses 6 Xiranite to make 5 Xiragen, okay? 7.2 per 5 versus 6 per 5. Fluid to gas is still more efficient, okay? Even if Natural Xiragen is used to kickstart the solid transmuter, we already know that a solid transmuter supplying itself with its own activation ingredient results in 30 Xiranite being used to make only 24 Xiragen, a ratio of 1.25 Xiranite to 1 Xiragen, which is still less efficient. 1.25, that ratio, 125% of 6 is 7.5. So that is, for solid activating itself, it's 7.5 Xiranite per used to make 5 Xiragen. Sorry, 7.5 per 5 Xiragen. For solid activated by external Xiragen, it's 7.2 per 7.2 Xiranite per 5 Xiragen. And then for fluid activated, a fluid transmuter activated by liquid Xiranite, it's 6 Xiranite per 5 Xiragen. Okay, but before we continue, I have these as examples as well. Where are they though? Oh, I have this as an example. Okay, so it takes 6 Natural Xiragen to make 30 Xiragen, which totals to 37.2 Xiranite. However, this 32 must be rounded up to 38 for a practical example. 6 Xiranite only makes 5 Xiragen in a fluid to gas transmuter. To make 1 more Xiragen, you must use 1 more Xiranite to activate the fluid to gas transmuter for 1 more production cycle. Thus 8 Xiranite to make 6 Xiragen. That follows with up here, right? With up here at the liquid external making to make the solid to gas. That's actually incorrect. It should say 6 Xiragen. No, this is fine. I'm sorry. I'm wrong somewhere in here about 6 Xiragen making 5 Xiragen. This is not 100% correct right here. This is not correct. It's knowing that 1 Xiragen is worth 120% of 1 Xiranite. You will be using not 6 Xiragen. We have to convert that into Xiranite. So that's 7.2. That is from here. 7.2. I'm gonna fix this right now. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna fix this. This is part 2. I knew I had at least one thing wrong, and that was it. So this should be 7.2 Xiranite. 1 Xiragen activator plus 5 Xiranite transmuted. Okay, so let me get the tablet to update. And let me have this update as well. Here we go. Okay, so this is now correct. Knowing that 1 Xiragen is worth 120% of 1 Xiranite, you will be using 7.2 Xiranite to make 5 Xiragen. That's what that should say. 1 Xiragen activator, that's 1.2 Xiranite, plus 5 Xiranite. Or, oh, is that right? 120%, 7.2 Xiranite. 6.2 to make 5 Xiragen? I guess it is 6.2 actually, huh? Is that actually more efficient, or am I thinking about this wrong? Hold on one second, I'm sorry. If you need 1 Xiragen to activate, and then you need 5 Xiranite to be transmuted, and we say that 1 Xiragen is equal to 1.2 Xiranite. That is 6.2 Xiranite to make 5 Xiragen. Okay, that's still not more efficient than fluid to gas, however. Okay, we can put that line there. Because that's 6.2 Xiranite to make 5 Xiragen. So that is also... no. That is a ratio of 1.24. 1.24 Xiranite to 1 Xiragen. Okay, that should be the actual number there. I don't know why I said it takes 6 Xiragen to make 5 Xiragen. That's not how that's working. So all this should be not 7.2 but 6.2. So 6.2. It uses 6.2 Xiragen. This should just be lined out. Okay, so let's work from there. Let me see if I can get this to update, and we'll just use the bottom part for this, because that's the correct math, I believe, now. Okay, so 1 Xiragen to activate, and then 5 Xiragen to be transmuted. If 1 Xiragen is equal to 1.2 Xiranite, that means it's 6.2 Xiranite to make 5 Xiragen. So that is a 1.24 Xiranite to 1 Xiragen ratio. Is that also, did I do that right? 6.2 divided by 5. Yeah, 1.24. Yeah, 1.24, sorry, not like 1, that's correct. It's 0.04 more than 1.2, right? So 124% versus 120%. Okay, so disregard all this nonsense. That's just not correct right now. But you do still need to convert 30 Xiranite into over 1 minute to convert 30 Xiranite into 30 Xiragen. You do still need 6 total Xiragen. Okay, so let's do that. Oh, let's show that. So that is the solid gas transmute. I'll fix this text as well. This thing is burning out all of its pre-activation fuel, and then our solid Xiranite gets here, all 30 of it, and then we start transmuting as our activator fluid hits, or activating Xiragen hits. That's too early, so it's going to be a little off, isn't it? Yeah. And there's like, what, 1 left? Oh, all of it goes through. So it makes 30. Dum-ba-da-ba. That seems a little weird. That, like, stopped activating. That first one came way too... Oh, no, it didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, well, it came on time. Yeah, I'm just a little crazy in how I'm seeing it. Okay, so I'll fix this text, but this is the video. Part 3. In conclusion, fluid to gas is still the most efficient use of available resources to make Xiragen. And natural Xiragen is best used to produce more valuable products such as pyrrolite and heavy Xiranite. It's best used back here in the gas globes to make pyrrolite gas, or I guess technically in the purification unit to make heavy Xiragen. The reason why is because those have no other alternative. I don't actually know how to explain this part, so I'm not going to. But the point is, we know for sure that sending it into this to make more Xiragen loses you value, okay? We just know that for sure. So it's better to use it as a product to make more valuable products, okay? And I think that might require me to do a whole other video to fully dive into that, and I don't know if I want to do all that. I just know it makes sense, right? So I'm not doing it for a while. Okay, so how long is this video? This is 45 minutes long, even longer than the last one, but more information in the last 10 minutes was me fumbling through that. So that is the video for now. I hope it was insightful to you. If you found things wrong, please let me know, and we'll kind of figure this out together. Okay, goodbye.